smoking, it's a revolution. Revolution, revolution. Shots to your head, it's an execution. Execution, execution. It's being us versus the corrupt. Red dot, put a cross to your head. Let the Lord interrupt. Interrupt, interrupt. Gun smoking, it's a revolution. Revolution, revolution. Shots to your head, it's an execution. Execution, execution.
Hey,
What up, Liberty Goons?
man, back with another one, baby.
I feel good tonight, Don Welch.
Yeah, man. How you
I just
doing,
took
brother?
the big shit, so I feel great.
Totally demonetized.
Totally demonetized. Now we I think we're far enough in, and it's only the F word, I think. Man, episode number 25. This is our whatever you call your 25th birthday. Don and I were asking each other, and I forget what it's called. Neither he nor I remember our 25th birthday, so
it's called something.
Yeah, it's called something. I just don't remember what it was. Man, we've got a couple cool topics to talk about later. We've obviously had some news since the last episode, and we are 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away, from election night 2024. Don Welch.
Dude, that's crazy. I'm actually pulling up our talk track list here. I know, unprofessional.
Man, I was watching a couple YouTube prediction videos a little bit ago. I believe the one that we did the night where we did our election preview, I think the highest total we had come to was 312, right? I think that's where we were at. And
yeah, we 312 if things go in favor
right,
of the way
the highest one we had.
Absolute best possibility is 312.
So I saw two predictions today that were at 312.
That'd be huge, bro.
Yeah.
I just, I always get nervous because I feel like people, they all talk about going out and, oh, I support this and I support that, and then they never vote.
Yeah, I will say that the early vote count is looking pretty good, though.
Oddly enough, it's not in Georgia, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
It's 6 points behind, which, Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it because you're right. But man, it's definitely, I think, leaning. Whereas before in the national media, it was neck and neck. I think it's leaning Trump. And obviously Kamala Harris has done nothing to help her case at all in the past 2 weeks. It has just been an utter fucking collapse. They tried to make fun of Donald Trump for his working at McDonald's and said it was all staged. Duh.
Yeah, that's the whole point. When you get on stage and you have, dude, even what's her name said, I saw it whenever she was doing her, what was it? I can't remember what it was on, what channel it was on, but she was basically doing a town hall, and somebody said, can we ask her questions? And they said, no, these are already pre-planned questions.
Right, yeah, you want to talk about staged.
I was like, that's what staged is, brother.
Not the former president of the United States who's been attempted to shoot at twice, accomplished once. You can't just have him walk into any old McDonald's and just start serving customers. That's not how it fucking works.
People are idiots.
I thought his whole thing there was fantastic, though.
Bro, I saw on AP where they said, we just want to clarify, Trump is not working at McDonald's and does not plan on working at McDonald's. I was like, Democrats are fucking stupid, bro. Clearly he's not working at McDonald's. Clearly that's not his job, and he's not planning on working there. The guy's a multi-billionaire, dude, and he's running for president of the United States. He did it to prove a point. Hey, you said you work there. McDonald's said you didn't, and nobody can find proof that you ever did, and I'm going to actually go serve people. And he had a line, they said, wrapped around for 10 fucking miles of people just wanting to catch a glimpse.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's got to be a CIA nightmare, or not CIA,
Oh, Secret Service nightmare.
Secret Service nightmare.
Oh man, we haven't even got to the news. That was just freaking banter right there. Don, tell them what to do. Tell them
Hey
what the fuck
man,
to do.
this is your time right now to do the patriotic thing and go smash that like button, go drop a comment, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you can watch shows just like this 2 times every single fucking week, you beautiful patriotic American motherfucker.
That was the best one you've done yet. And we've got you so close on the ring the notification bell thing that I might have to have you end to a Patriot Ranch video while you're out here next week with the picture line. So
we haven't even told them.
no, so we have an announcement.
It's official.
We talked about it a little bit, but it is official. Don Welch is coming to Pennsylvania. We figured
election night.
it's a battleground. We might as well bring the battle to Pennsylvania, right?
Yep.
So Don's going to fly in ahead of time. We are going to go out to the new 2A Patriot Ranch, and we're going to practice our God-given right of firing off things that go boom in the woods. And we are going to count the number of Trump Vance signs that we see along the way.
Dude, we might have to do a live as we're driving.
We might have to do that.
Yeah, we might have to.
We might have to do that. And then
I'm curious. I'll be honest with you. The real reason, well, obviously to see my buddy John, of course, to come there. But the real reason is because I'm like genuinely interested in like seeing what the battleground state looks like.
Should we talk to people? Should we go around and talk to people?
I think that it would be
I think we should do that. Stop at some stores and some shit like that and talk to people. I like it. We should do that.
I think we should.
Should we go out? Idea. Should we go out election morning and do the same thing? Can media get close to polling sites?
You can, but you have to be outside. Because there was So I went to go vote today. And it was a 3-hour long wait. And I had to get my ass to work. There was no way that I could do it yet. So I am still trying to go fucking vote. And apparently we get to vote on Saturday. That's what my girl was saying. So I might just have to wait because this is our big quarter end for our business that I work at. So like my hours have been crazy. You can ask John, like this whole month's just been insane, the amount of hours that I've worked. So it's really hard to get a 3-hour time period when polls are open to actually go vote. So hopefully I get to go vote this weekend. I'm going to try again tomorrow morning when I wake up. And hopefully I can, so I can get it knocked out the way. But if not, it'll be this weekend. Or I'm just going to tell work to fuck off next week. And I'm just,
hey, gotta vote.
Might have to be like, I'm sick.
You gotta vote.
But
you gotta vote before you come to PA.
Oh, I'm voting, yeah. But that's crazy, dude, because it was our third day voting. On Monday, when I was driving into work, one of the polling sites that I go to is on that road that I'm driving into work, and it was backed up 2 miles with cars. 2 miles, and it was not fucking moving. It took me an hour. It took me an hour and 20 minutes to get 2 fucking miles because it's a 1-lane road.
Damn,
insane, dude.
That's insane. But yeah, so Don's gonna be here election night, sitting somewhere on one of these sides of me, here in the 2A Patriot Ranch / Liberty Goons studio. You'll get to see Don what this side looks like of the room. Anyway, man, I think we got some good ideas to roll with there. That was a little spitball and live with you guys.
We get our best ideas by doing that.
We do. Shout out to 2A Watch Company, the official sponsor of the Liberty Goons. 2A Watch Company delivers fashionable, practical, and patriotic watches that embody the three pillars of their company: God, freedom, and country. They
Amen.
almost have my hat copied here. God, guns, and freedom. They're real close. Grab your watch at 2awatchcompany.com. Follow them over on Instagram at 2A Watch Co. I believe it is, right, Tom? 2A Watch
Yep.
Co. Yeah, 2A Watch
Yep.
Co. Shoot them a DM once again. Say, don't be little bitches. Come on the Liberty Goons on election night. They would love to hear from you.
We're probably never keeping sponsors after this.
No, that's it. People are done with us now.
We might have another sponsor. I'm just waiting for a call, so we'll see.
I love it. I love it. Oh,
yeah.
You know what? Shout out Zemo.
Shout out Zemo.
We love you guys. Don is going to get a couple of these that I have laying around here. I'm going to have to get a refill, Zemo. You can get yours. I believe it's, I'll leave the link down below, but I believe it's zemopouches.com. If you use the code GOONS, you get 15% off.
That's a sick deal.
Right?
That's a sick deal.
Right now, I've got grape, blueberry, and cinnamon sitting on the desk right here. Got all kinds of shit here. Anyway, well, I guess we can actually finally start the episode now. Let's jump into the news. Maybe we'll bounce around here a little bit, Don. I'm going to throw you for a loop. Maybe I won't go in order of how I wrote them down.
Okay.
Because it's so fresh in my mind. Before we got on here, I just finished watching JD Vance on Theo Von. Did you catch any of it?
I caught clips this morning as I was going into work, and I was like, "Whoa, this was a wild podcast."
I loved it. I think it definitely showed like JD Vance is not quote unquote weird. Like he was just like a bro sitting there talking to Theo Von. He called Ron Johnson dude. He said he's a good dude. I'm like a senator calling another senator dude. Like that's awesome. He's talking about football and like,
JD. That's what I was gonna say. JD Vance is a man's man. Like, I mean, of course they want to call him weird, but the people that are calling him weird are also the same people that put their kids on leashes. So
right.
They're also the same one.
Let their little boys dress up in girls' clothing and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean. Depends on what you think is weird. I have always said that that's the party of P.
Yep. Yeah, we're not gonna
and we are the party of normal society where we want men to be men and women to be women, and we want to be patriotic, and we want our country to be economically great again, and we want to stay out of freaking foreign wars, and we want to keep our constitutional rights. So that's why we're voting conservative for. That's why we're voting Republican.
We want people to be free to do whatever they want as long as it doesn't encroach on the freedom of others.
Amen.
But I thought JD Vance on Theo Von was fantastic. I didn't know if it could get better than Donald Trump on Theo Von, and it might have. It was
when
good.
Theo Von was talking about fentanyl, he's like, "Man, you can't even do cocaine around here anymore." I was
JD was like, well, I've never done cocaine.
He's like, but I might have to use that in my next. It was so funny because it was just like such like you could see JD Vance's face. Like, did he really just say that?
Yeah, what did he say about Marines and Ozempic? Marines, the new Ozempic, because like JD Vance was like skinny as shit back then.
Dude, funny, bro. Funny.
Yeah.
Theo Von is hilarious.
Dude, that dude cracks me the fuck up.
And ding ding ding. What I would just say this. Trump is going to be on the Joe Rogan podcast, which
Tomorrow.
is crazy.
Or
Is it
no.
tomorrow?
No.
Friday.
Sorry. Friday. But by
Friday.
the time you watch this, it'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, correct. So here's the wild part. I actually think that he's probably going to be extremely hard on Trump.
I think so too.
I think so. And I think that, to be honest with you, it's kind of a make it or break it point for him. I think I clearly Joe Rogan's probably going to vote for Trump. I mean, at this point, or or he might just not vote at all because I mean, in all reality, Joe Rogan's a Democrat. Now he's slightly starting to lean a little bit more conservative,
He's a
but
skeptic.
he is a Democrat at the end of the
Mhm.
day. No matter what Democrats try to tell you, he is a Democrat. He's always been a Democrat. I mean, at one point in time, I thought he was like a socialist Democrat because he wanted old boy to win from what's the guy's name, the old
Bernie.
guy.
Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders. He was cheering for Bernie Sanders. So I think that it would be I give him a lot of kudos because I don't think it's going to be an easy thing for Trump to do.
Nope.
And there is no way on God's green earth that Kamala Harris would ever do that because Jamie would eat her alive.
Yes, he'd be fact checking like a motherfucker on there. Oh,
Yes.
speaking of interviews that Kamala Harris is just never going to do, how about the op-ed that Sean Ryan wrote in Newsweek?
Oh, that was hilarious. That was
Open
hilarious.
invitation to Kamala Harris to come on the show, and my mom texted me. She's like, "You don't think she'll do it?" Well, I was like, "No, Sean Ryan will eat her alive by being like politically correct too." Like Sean's not a gotcha guy. I think he will be a little bit more after he had to issue an apology like 2 weeks ago for the photo op comment thing. Remember when he had the people on from Hurricane Helene, and they said that the aircraft that Kamala took a photo in front of was like staged with equipment and stuff like that. And then come to find out, like it actually did go to that plane did go to North Carolina or wherever it went, and he had to come out on Instagram and like issue an apology and say like these guys basically fed me bullshit. So I think he's probably going to end up being a little bit harsher with things now and like pushing back.
I will say this though, with a Hurricane Helene, dude, there was so much bad shit that the government was doing. I mean, we've talked about it on this podcast. We talked saying the governor right now, which is a Democrat governor, is trying to force people to sell their homes or they just took their land, period, because they want to put a lithium mine there. Right? That's what they're wanting to do. That's the whole point of this. They want to get rid of conservatives, take up the mountain, dig a lithium mine. You got Kamala Harris's husband is a big time, investor in all this. I mean, clearly that's what they want to do. So I don't think that he was wrong for probably saying what he. I mean, honestly, he could have said a ton of other things that would have been
He
true.
didn't say it. It was the guest that he had on that said it. So he was just issuing basically a retraction of what was said.
I mean, no matter what, dude, no matter what the case is, there's so much there that he could have said that would have been actual,
Sure, but I think he did the right thing.
I think so too. But let me, in case you guys don't know this, I was talking about this. In case you guys don't remember, in 2012, and it was in, I believe it was in October. Yes, it was in October and 2012. Actually, I think I actually have it here. Let me pull this up because I think this is very important for every single person to understand. So,
I don't even know where you're going with this one.
I know you don't. So HR 5736, the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012. Okay, so this was actually seen in 2011, put into law in 2012. Clearly, at that point in time, the Democrats ran Congress, and this got pushed through Congress, got pushed through the Senate. Do you know what this bill is?
Mm-mm.
So this is the bill that allows publications, radios, motion pictures, and the internet and media companies to all lie. Allows them to lie. So it allows them to lie about anything that the government finds fit for the country, which is, what do we call that?
Oh, it's propaganda.
Propaganda. So Obama literally made propaganda legal in the United States. So all the shit that you see about Republicans and blah 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 and this and that, your boy Obama was the person who signed propaganda into law. Before that, it was a crime.
Well, that's because they believe that the American people can't actually handle accurate information. It's why they won't release documents on a number of things that have happened in our history, whether it be aliens or JFK or any of that stuff. You know, like you've seen the end of the world movies where like the asteroid's going to come in and hit, and they basically lie to the American people. Um,
Mhm.
if that were to happen today, there would literally be Republicans and Democrats arguing on CNN over whether it was real or not. You know,
Yeah.
because they would feed this propaganda machine. The Democrats would come out and say, "Oh no, it's not going to happen," you know, and then behind closed doors they're like, "We can't let people know because it'll be disaster in the streets and all this kind of shit," because they think you're dumb. They think you're stupid, and they think you can't handle big boy information. That's what the
Yeah.
Democrats think of you.
100%. And well, not only that, they can that allows them to feed lies into the media. I was talking to this with a guy earlier. I mean, this is the reason why Trump got impeached, was a bunch of lies that later came out to be lies. Um, and found out that actually Hillary Clinton paid for these lies, and it was proven that she paid for these lies. And that allowed for propaganda, and nobody ever got in trouble for any of that shit that happened.
Remember when
And
Adam Schiff got the call saying that that they had information on Donald Trump? Remember that whole thing? People
mm,
forget about all of this shit so quickly. When
yeah,
you
Democrat.
add up the amount of shit that's gone against Donald Trump, that's just been utterly bullshit. Just utterly bullshit.
Yeah, and the wild part is they make it such a huge deal, and then they're like, when it comes out to be not true, Democrats just brush over it, like, "Ugh, okay, whatever." Like,
Or they make
on to the next thing.
or they just say stupid shit like that picture that I can't remember if it was you that sent it to me or my mom, the Trump one in the Steelers uniform. Obviously,
Oh my
so
god.
like obviously caveat, I'm a Steeler fan, so you know my family sent it to me too. But the report was most likely an AI image.
Donald Trump does not play for the Steelers.
Like no
No
shit, it was an
shit.
AI image. He has like hulking biceps and
Oh,
forearms and shit.
when I posted it, I forgot to tell you this. So I posted it on my Instagram. I don't. Do you remember when I posted it on my Instagram?
I don't remember because it got sent to me like a little bit before that. I can't remember.
And I was like, Pennsylvania, go out and vote.
Oh
For
yeah. Now I remember. Yeah.
yeah. I literally got hit for misinformation. I literally Instagram hit me for misinformation. By the way, that's like the 15th time, and it's like, bro, clearly you like that satire. Like, we all know that Donald Trump doesn't play for the Steelers. Like, this is clearly election interference right here, and not to mention blocking my freedom of speech. I can do whatever the fuck I want. It's artistic value. So
Yeah. I mean, it's for all intents and purposes, it's comedy. Like you know, it was
like I said,
funny.
it's satire information. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you know.
How much did that backfire in their faces though? Trump's at Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh and everybody's chanting USA. Could you imagine if that was Kamala Harris? They'd be
Mm.
booing their faces off. Like booing their faces off. And then Donald Trump brings Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and Mike Wallace, 3 former Steelers, up on stage. And now, hey, you can go back and check my personal Twitter. I have bashed Antonio Brown quite a bit because he's fucking like out there wild. That guy says some of the craziest shit that a human being has ever said. He does like a cracker of the day and an Asian of the day, and like, I mean, this guy's wild. Like, he definitely has CTE from a hit that
Being
Vontez
hit.
Burfict hit on him. For those of you that know, this guy's like, he's out there. But seeing him up there was like kind of fantastic. Like,
Dude, I thought it was fantastic, man. I thought the whole thing was fucking
yeah.
fantastic.
I sent it to my mom right away, and because they were in Latrobe, which is where the Steelers have training camp at. So that
And then
was
and then
fantastic.
what's his name was handing out the Trump towels.
Yeah, it was so great. It was so great.
Bro, that was wild, bro.
Oh man, getting back to the news here. So I don't know if you remember, Don, but back under the Trump administration, they passed a law that said that basically, I'm going to sum it down just like super layman's terms here. Basically, it made it easier to fire federal employees for wrongdoing. You know that it's been ages old that it's like impossible to get rid of a federal employee. Like, once you're in there, you're in there. Well, this made it easier to get rid of those people. So a couple years goes by now, the VA has now decided to issue back pay to 1,700 of the 4,000 people that were terminated. And we're not talking about like good employees here. We're talking about people that got fired for negligence, fell asleep on the job. I mean, just true bad federal employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back paid 1,700 of them to a total of $300 million.
Bro, that's insanity.
Hired back 100 of them.
Bro, that's nuts. And okay, I'm not telling you guys what I do. Other than I'll tell you that I work in the medical field, but just, that's all I'm telling you. I have worked with the VA. Underneath Obama, it was so bad. People were waiting so long to get stuff. You would talk to, a patient, and then that patient, would wait 6 months, 12 months. And by the time you called that patient and they finally got an approval to get the materials that they need, I'm not going to tell you where I work, because if I say it, then you'll automatically know. These people would already be dead. Like, I watched so many people die underneath Obama. Underneath Trump, more VA shit coming through like I've never seen before. The VA decided to get off their ass and start serving people. Now, Biden and Kamala, once again, you don't see anything. No approvals, nothing happens. In fact, like, they don't even send in these patients anymore. So I'm sure that there's hundreds of people that are probably dying because of it still. And I really so badly, but I know that if I tell you guys this, then it's like I just legally can't tell you guys, but it is bad. That's why I've never given out any information on where I work or what I do for a living on social media at all. But man, the VA, the only time I've ever seen the VA functionable was underneath Trump. That's it. I mean, and I've been doing my job for 10 years. So,
yeah, man. But this is just normal bureaucratic left-leaning bullshit to do something like this. Man, story out of your state. It does apply to some other states as well, because it's been going on. Well, and I guess before we go any further, so Don and I got called clown something clown. I don't even remember what it was now. What would I say it was? Let me pull this up here before we give this this talk on what was in the news, because it applies. Because I guess this is what they're saying. We got called cosplay cowboy clowns, all spelled with a K. And the guy said, notice the three Ks, insinuating that Don and I are racist and are members of the KKK.
Or it's
Um,
probably some fat white dudes for Harris. You know, the funny thing about that is like I live in San Antonio. Almost all my friends are Hispanic, like almost all of them. My wife is Puerto Rican and Hispanic. So it's like, bro, like no, we just don't like you. We don't
yeah,
like we don't like Democrats.
I
You
lived
know,
in Miami for the last 4 years, Southern California for the 14 years before that. I don't have an issue with anybody's race at all. Zero issue.
no, I
Um,
I have a I have a I have a problem. I really hate Democrats, bro. Like I have a genuine disdain for Democrats. If you're a black Republican, a Puerto Rican, an Arab conservative, whatever, me and you are going to get along just freaking fine. I don't care what race you are. What I do care about is when your party, 158 of them, vote for P to not be a federal crime. That's where I have a problem. That draws the line so much for me that, especially me having a child on the way, like, uh, yeah, dude, I that like I'd rather go to war and fucking you know let's go to war with each other after that, because that to me that is so tyrannical and so disgusting and ungodly. And I'm not a perfect human being, but that draws the fucking line for me.
Absolutely, it does. Actually, we'll add something here after we go through the next couple of things on that. But your boy Ken Paxton has sued the federal government because they can't verify 450,000 possibly illegal registered voters in the state of Texas. So basically, the federal government says, "Oh, well, you can use this Save. I think it's called Save, like system, this computer system."
Mm-hmm.
But to boil it all down, the Save system doesn't actually give like accurate data on if the person's an actual citizen or not. There's a lot of intricacies to it, but that's the basis of it. So Ken Paxton has sued the federal government saying, "Hey, you got to give us data on these 450,000 people if they're citizens or not, because the federal government is refusing to do so,
The problem is
which is against the law."
the problem is it is against the law, and that's why Democrats are unconstitutional as fuck. And not to mention, he's not the only person doing that. Glenn Youngkin in Virginia is also doing that. Ohio is also doing that, and I can't remember
There's
how many
another
other.
one too, and I can't remember.
Yeah, there's another state or two that are doing it as well. Let me tell you how crazy this is. They said, oh, well, there's no proof that we've had cheating from illegal immigrants. Well, motherfucker, if you don't have an ID, how are you ever going to catch somebody?
Right.
It's impossible. Like that's Democrats are fucking retards. You are a fucking retard if you are a Democrat.
Well,
And if you say that, like we've talked about this before. Like you have zero common sense and understanding. If I walk into an airport, I have to show my ID to prove who I am. If an illegal immigrant walks into an airport and they have a sign over their fucking neck, they get to walk in. That's it. No big deal. It's fucking crazy. Now, I remember fucking 9/11. You remember 9/11. This is like hard when we were growing up, like that's the biggest thing. The war on terror was massive, right? How in the fuck are you allowing anywhere from 12 to 20 million people, depending on who you talk to and what border agent that you talk to come into this country, and then they don't have ID and they can get on an airplane? That's fucking crazy. On top of that, how is it possible that you are saying that there is no cheating that's going on, but you refuse to have ID? In California, if you ask for somebody's ID, it is a state crime and you will be arrested and thrown into jail. That
which
is
is wild.
fucking insane. These motherfuckers are cheaters. cheaters. You know what would save Democrats? If
Well,
they
we
just
talked about it.
we've talked about it. If they just said, you know what, well, well, we always try to appease Democrats, and I'm fucking sick of it. That's why
No compromise.
me and John have this whole thing, no compromise. We're just not fucking doing it. I don't care if you're my childhood fucking friend, fuck you. Like that's how I feel about this shit. But if you wanted Republicans, conservatives, or independents to believe you, then you would say, okay, we're making voter ID mandatory in every single state. Period. And then you know what? We would all shut the fuck up about it. But you refuse to, and then you sue people because you're not allowing illegals to vote.
Yep. Well, and in the process, you're basically
Because
calling all minorities stupid because that's their reasoning for saying that they don't want voter ID to vote is because these minorities might not know how to get an ID. So you're basically calling black people and Latinos stupid is what you're doing.
well, let me rephrase that because I said Glenn Youngkin was firing President Biden. That's actually not true. I got that confused.
Biden suing them.
Biden is suing Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, because he is refusing to allow illegals to vote in that state.
Right.
Which
Well,
proves
he's refusing to keep those people on the voter rolls that they've taken off, that they removed off because they are not legal voters.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is we removed 1.1 million people already off of our ballots because they were either dead, and then we found out that they not only were they dead, people that were dead were somehow voting still. People that no longer lived here were still somehow voting here. People that are illegals, people that we found out are illegals, somehow still voted. Now, the government said, "Oh, well," Texas said, "Well, it's probably somewhere around 3 to 5%," but 3 to 5% in a close election is
Is
insane.
huge.
It's huge.
Well, in all of this man, this is it has so many branches on it. But one of those branches is the fact that we have this huge government that we have to do these things like cleaning voter rolls and all that kind of stuff. If it was just as simple that only citizens could have driver's licenses and or a state ID, whatever you want to call it, if some people can't drive, I wish more people didn't drive, but and when you went to vote, you had to have that ID, and anybody that has that ID, they're a citizen because only citizens can have the ID, right?
I mean,
That makes
I honestly think you should have to have your like you you have to have proof of citizenship, whether that's, hey, I'm showing an ID,
passport,
passport,
social security cards
social
that are
security.
real.
Yeah, like it has to be something that proves that you are an American citizen that's legal to vote. Because here's the thing. Now, if you're a felon, you're not allowed to vote. But if you're an illegal immigrant and or in Virginia, the Democrats are saying, no, you can't take them off the ballots. Makes no sense, like 0 cents at all. And the thing is, if you, and we've talked about this before, I think that felons, as long as they didn't commit uh, a heinous crime with a gun or some type of violent act, they should be able to get their gun rights back. Why? Because you remove them out of prison and now they are a part of society again. So
If they shouldn't be allowed to be a part of society again, then they should stay in prison.
then they should stay in prison 100%.
If you think
100%.
that they have the possibility of doing whatever they did again, then they shouldn't be allowed out.
Point
Plain and
blank
simple.
period. Yep.
But it's just that cut in the fat. Like, think about how many jobs that the state and federal government have just around elections, based around elections. Like, it's crazy when it should be very simple. Show up, show that you're a citizen, fill out a ballot, somebody counts that ballot, boom, done. But no, no, we have to have these voter rolls and you have to check them, and then dead people are voting, and like all of this stuff, when it just doesn't even have to be like that. Like, you
Yeah.
wouldn't even have to worry about that if the actual process of voting was secure.
Well, that and they're unconstitutional as fuck. Anyways, they want to get rid of the electoral college vote. They want to go to this whole like who's got the most votes out of the whole United States. Well, if that's the case, then what we should do is say, actually, you know what? Whoever wins the most states,
Right.
and like theoretically, like okay, what we if we're American citizens, we say, okay, well, wait. We don't like states should have their own rights and every state should count the same. Then every state should be the exact same. California, fucking Maine,
Right.
Iowa,
And that's where
whatever it is.
that's where the compromise started, right? The compromise
Yes,
started when we built the electoral college and allowed these states to be weighted based on population. That was an initial compromise. Um,
yeah.
and now we're in a situation where they just want to do it all away because they can't win like that without cheating.
They can't win without cheating. And even on top of that, why do you think they don't want to get rid of any of these illegal immigrants for? What they didn't want to get rid of the P immigrants. They didn't want to get rid of the murderers that we know that are in this country.
The
They didn't
R's.
they didn't want to get rid of the R's in this country, which was 300,000 that we know of for sure. No, I'm sorry, 400,000 that we know of for sure, brought up not just by Congress, but like, hey, this is the FBI stating this. This is the border patrol saying, hey, this is how many we have for sure that are in this country that we know of. Nope, we're not getting rid of them. They're staying here. Why do you think that is? They would rather you be get caught up, get murdered, have your wife, your children, or whatever be taken advantage of. I don't want to say the words, and instead of sending these people back, so they can do what? So they can have people enter these states, so they can get more. Uh, Based on population size, they can get more electoral college votes. That's why California doesn't get rid of any of those illegals for.
Yep. And it
That's why,
changes their election districts, period, just based upon their congressional districts and their local state, Senate and Congress districts. It's
yep,
all a scam.
the whole thing is.
It's
Yeah,
all a scam. Um
it's
anyway,
it's blatant cheating.
it is blatant cheating.
And
It-
Democrats, if you're a realist, you would realize that. Like, you wouldn't be like, oh well, blah 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 blah. No, 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 no. Think about this logically. That is cheating. You have people here that don't belong here, and not to mention you're risking human lives, American human lives, so you can have more people populated there to get more electoral college votes for the states that you guys choose. That's that's it. Point blank. Period. You know.
Yep. Man, big win by GOA yesterday. Big win. Our
Huge.
friends over. Oh, you got the GOA shirt on right there. Big win by GOA against New York in the Northern District of New York, boiling it down. Basically, the Cortland Housing Authority, which is a public housing, whether it be projects or whatever it is, said that their tenants couldn't possess firearms. And GOA took this one all the way up and smackdown. No, you do not have a right as a public housing authority to tell people they cannot have a firearm and therefore violate their constitutional rights.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see that too. As long as we can keep things conservative, we're going to see that with the AR magazine ban. We're going to see that happen,
We got a lot of good shit coming up.
and just we just have to pray to God that everybody stays alive and that Trump wins and Congress is majority Republican and Senate's majority Republican as well. Because if we can hold and none of our Supreme Court justices die that are on the conservative part, because if so, brother, we got some huge wins, and we are. This is the first time in our lifetime, even our parents' lifetimes, that we are gonna actually get to see the constitutional slowly start being restored again. It's
Yep.
crazy, man. Crazy.
100%. 100%. And I'm here for it the whole way.
Yeah.
Something else that came up there while we were talking, because you were talking about P's and R's. This Diddy thing is getting out of control, dude. We talked about it, like 5, 6, 7 episodes ago. This shit is wild. I mean, they're talking about 13-year-old kids. They're talking about our stuff. I mean, it's did you see any of Jesse on Fire today?
I didn't get to watch it.
So
Nah.
basically, Jesse says he put this whole thing together. He didn't come up with the first part of this, but apparently it's about to come out in a documentary or a Netflix special that Jamie Foxx did. Do you remember back about 3-4 years ago when Jamie Foxx had like this medical scare that was like super mysterious and nobody kind of like knew what he had happened to
Yeah,
him?
I remember. I remember.
So supposedly he's going to come out and say that Diddy poisoned him with cyanide.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you see this. I mean, Jay-Z and Beyonce shut the fuck up. They're not talking anymore. They're not even going out there and being like, go Kamala, hardly, like they, typically do with Democrats. You have people like
Usher.
Leonardo DiCaprio's like gone, like not even in the United States. You got Usher like trying to vanish. I mean, you got all types of people that are wrapped up, all types of Democrats that have been all wrapped up in this. And in case you guys forgot, remember, Obama said there ain't no party like a Diddy party. So, there's all types of, and Kamala Harris, she's, said, hey, thank you, Diddy, for all the money that you've donated and all these great things that you've done. And we love you, Diddy. And people forget about that. That's why, think about this, guys. Think about this real hard. These people refuse to let the Epstein list out. Why? Why? Democrats have been in charge for 4 years. When did the Epstein stuff pop off? Well, it popped off this election, or this term with this president, and nothing.
Well, that was one thing that JD. Did you hear JD said it on? He said it on Theo Vaughn. He said we got to release the Epstein list.
Yeah, I mean same thing with Elon. Said the same stuff, and he's like Bill Gates. Bill Gates, like, bro, nobody's gonna, Bill Gates is scared to death. I mean, you got Klaus Schwab, scared to death, because he even said, like, if Trump wins, the World Economic Forum and the New World Order is over with. Over with.
And you guys wonder why we talk about like something like P. Diddy or whatever. And this is why, because we wrap this stuff up into some of the devilish shit that happens on the Democratic side.
With 300,000 children missing in America, and Democrats have refused to do anything about it. And in fact, when they were in Congress and they said, hey, these people have been put into basically slave labor, the woman said from the Democrats, well, yeah, we know that. And it's better that than them going back home, essentially, is what she stated. I mean, you can go listen to the thing, but essentially that's what she's trying to sum up in the conversation. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think there's 2 great watches that came out of this week. Obviously, Jesse on Fire is always a good watch. You and I love him. He's fucking crazy. Some of the shit he says is like super wild, and other stuff you like watching it, you're like, holy shit, like this is really good. So
he's very
go check out our guy Jesse on Fire there. Also, I was telling you, Don, a couple days ago, Jared from over at Guns and Gadgets, you got to go check out our boy. He posted a video about holding police officers accountable for not violating constitutional rights, and he got fired up. For those of you that don't know, Jared is a former law enforcement officer, and he was like, I don't give a shit what my former comrades say. Like, you can't just turn a blind eye to this bullshit and let people trample on constitutional rights. You know, his one example was what we talked about a few episodes ago, which was the sheriff in Okeechobee basically eliminating the Second Amendment while the hurricane was rolling in. And you know, his fellow sergeants and stuff that worked for him came out and like in defense kind of it. And it's like, man, where are your balls, dude? This guy's doing something that's extremely unconstitutional. You
And-
can't just say, "Oh, I was doing my job." Like, no, that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, but I like what DeSantis said after that. He was like, "Look, he's like, this is a Second Amendment state. You come in there, you might be able to walk in, but you ain't walking out of somebody's house." And I was like, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing here in Texas, dude. You start trying to break into people's houses here, you're probably gonna knock on the wrong fucking door.
Hey, even Kamala said it. Kamala said, "You break into her house, she gonna
Yeah.
get you."
Well, the Secret Service is gonna get you. That bitch has never pulled a trigger a day in her life.
Oh man! All right, we're a ways in here, and it is time for trigger warning. So this is a subject that I approached Don about a week ago with, and he was like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about." This is about Matt Drudge. Matt Drudge is an asshole, and so is Eminem. Let's
I know why
chat
Eminem
about it.
is.
Yeah. So Matt Drudge runs and is the founder of the Drudge Report, which for a very, very long time was a, I would say, pretty far right news website. It was one of the most visited websites for news for a very, very long time. He was a Trump supporter back in 2016, and for some reason has flipped the script. I'm just gonna read some of the headlines that are currently right now on Drudge Report. John Kelly says the Don believes fascism would work better. 20 ways he's like early Hitler. Former White House Chief of Staff's final warning. President raged at America's soldiers' funeral bill. Doesn't cost $60,000 to bury a fucking Mexican. Trump groped me in twisted Epstein game. 3 reasons I'm certain Harris will be president. And so on, and so on, and so on. These are headlines from somebody that was supposedly a conservative Trump supporter. Don, I know you're not extremely familiar with this guy, but that actually makes it a little bit better. Why would somebody fucking turn like that?
Money. I mean, money, because we see it. We see it all the time. I mean, there's been all types of people. Okay, this is a prime example. What's the coach of Dallas?
Oh,
The Dallas Mavericks. The rich
you
guy.
mean the owner?
Yeah,
Mark Cuban?
that's what I meant. The owner, Mark Cuban. Okay, so Mark Cuban and Trump used to be really, really, really good friends, right? If you can go back and watch the 2016 election, he's talking about how much he loves Trump and how he's the best, and he's telling all the reasons economically why, all the way up until 2020, and Trump said something about his players kneeling on the flag, and he was like, don't support the Dallas Mavericks. He's like, any owner that's going to allow their team to kneel on the flag is disrespectful, and that pissed Mark Cuban off. And then him and Mark Cuban got into a huge argument, and since then, Mark Cuban tried his best to buddy up to Trump, and then Trump basically just kept bashing him to where now Mark Cuban feels like he's got to go against Trump because he got bashed so hard for the mistakes that he's made. Same thing probably here. There's big money in politics. In case you guys don't know this, Kamala Harris got $1 billion. All right. Now, Republicans, they always say, oh, Republicans get money from large corporations, large corporations, large corporations. I think that the average donation for Trump, I could be wrong, but I think it's $30. 30
Yeah,
bucks.
it's super low.
It's like super low. Now, he's got way more people that have donated. Now, than Kamala. But Kamala's got $1 billion. $1 billion. Go look who her biggest supporters are. The reason why you can't find shit on Google and the reason why Google's so swayed, well, go look how much the ABC Group, aka Google, who owns YouTube, how much money they have invested into Kamala. Go look at how much money Bill Gates has invested into Kamala. Go look at how much money Klaus Schwab has invested into Kamala. Go look at how much money the World War II guy that killed all the Jews that's supposed to be Jewish,
Soros.
George Soros. Which he's the one who's donated to all these DAs. He's the one that got all these people out that like burnt down cities. He was the one that was promoting and giving tons of money for these DAs to defund the police. These are, and George Soros is a multi billionaire. Okay, you look at all these, the biggest pharma. Go look how much money pharma is dumping into Democrats. It will blow your fucking mind. If that's not large corporations, then I don't know what is. So this is why conservatives are saying, look, we are the party for middle class working people because we are. $30 versus 20, 40, 60, 80, $100 million in donations from crazy corporations left and right, left and right. The only big donation that Trump is getting is from Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is a liberal.
So, circling back to Matt Drudge, so
my bad on that. I didn't mean to clear that. I should have circled all this back. So one second to let me finish this. Guarantee this man is getting paid a ton of money by Democrats, just like how Democrats paid off media personnel. I don't know if you've seen this, but like all these TikTokers now are being like, look, this is the talking points that they told me. Orange man bad, say all these talking points, nothing else, and we will pay you. Dude, some of them are getting paid like $20,000 fucking dollars to say that. So of course, when you're 18-year-old kid and you say, all I gotta say is this for 20 grand, I don't give a fuck about the election. 20 grand to an 18-year-old is life-changing money. It's life-changing money to me. So guarantee that he's getting paid off to say whatever it is so he can get his pockets filled, which is disgusting. But that's what we've seen it over and over and over and over and over again.
yeah, I think you're probably onto something there. I think it was also a bit something happened personal to make that hard of a switch. I mean, so just brief history on Matt Drudge. Brief history point I'll make. So Matt Drudge is the one that broke the Monica Lewinsky story with Bill Clinton, and from then on out, I mean, he and his clan were just the most pro-conservative spot you could go to. When you were reading news, it was Drudge Report first, Fox News second, and then everything else, Breitbart and all the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But since he has turned on Donald Trump, like, it is a shell of what it used to be. Like, it's all clickbait now. It's all leftist clickbait now.
Well, those are all clickbait. That's all clickbait, but it's also, defamatory because none of that shit's true. And we've seen this happen over and over and over again, and this is what results back to what I was saying earlier about Obama, that allowed for propaganda to be legal. Now, people can still get sued. We know that because of CNN. CNN has gotten sued. I mean, what's the kid's name from Kentucky that was
Oh yeah, Nick Salmon.
Nick Salmon? So with Nick Salmon, he was saying they were saying that he was saying all types of racist stuff, but he, at the cap or not at the Capitol, but at oh my God,
Lincoln Memorial.
Lincoln Memorial. Um, and he was just standing there. He wasn't even saying anything. And then they showed the video proof of that. And that guy got his, like, people were taking shots at him. Like, they literally were trying to kill him. And CNN just bolstered it, bolstered. Even the president of the United States, or, not president of the United States, but even the Democrats in Congress, the Senate, they were all saying nasty, terrible things. Joe Biden was saying, like, these people deserve to die, like this, blah, 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 like all types of crazy rhetoric. And it wasn't true. So he sued them for defamatory, but they never lost their license. When you lie and you put somebody's life at risk, like they put Donald Trump's life at risk, right? Because of all the crazy rhetoric, all the lies that they keep spreading. And we know that they're lies. We know that, like we said earlier, with the whole impeachment stuff, which we now know that Hillary Clinton was the one who paid for it. Why isn't Hillary Clinton in jail? Oh, well, because you can spread propaganda. It's legal now. Why isn't CNN? Why isn't somebody arrested in CNN and charged with propaganda? Well, because Obama made it legal to have propaganda in the United States in 2012.
Yep, and Donald Trump, I believe, is suing CBS right now for the whole 60 Minute saga. But with Drudge, I actually like. On one hand, I'm sad just because it was the go-to source for conservative news. So it's sad to see that not be there anymore. Um, but on the other hand, I am so happy to see him fall in a fucking trash can because he chose this route. And no real anybody ever takes Matt Drudge seriously anymore. Even Democrats don't reference Drudge at all.
Well, you know why? It's the crazy thing that Kamala Harris is doing right now with Liz Cheney. You're telling me that Democrats are happy that Liz Cheney is now siding with Kamala Harris? Literally a warmonger. A warmonger. Their whole family made their money off of the war machine. The
Which we're
war
going to
machine.
talk about in a little bit.
Okay. These people hate Liz Cheney. Look, I didn't vote for Bush. I'll be the first to tell you. I did not vote for Bush, right? I couldn't vote at that point in my life. Whenever it became between, Obama and Mitt Romney, I was like, no siree. I don't fucking agree with any of these people, and I voted for Ron Paul. And basically, Ron Paul is where my politics have always stand, which I'm glad now conservatives are leaning a lot more libertarian conservative, and that's where I've always set, basically constitutionalist, and that's where we are. But to go out and say, I mean, you're literally ruining all of your uh like any trust that you have with people. If people really like looked at this and they were like, oh well, yeah, it's great, Liz Cheney's with Kamala Harris. If you're a real Democrat and you think that you're the people against war, that's probably the last person on fucking planet Earth that you would want there sitting with you. Republicans, we are against war. We don't want war. But like the good saying goes, if you pick war with America, you won't have your sons and daughters growing up with you anymore. And that's just facts. That's facts. And I mean that. But nobody is going to war for these Democrats. Good luck trying to get the trainees to go to war for you and the weird Gen Zers out there. Good luck with that.
Yep. Yeah. Matt Drudge, you're an asshole, and I'm glad that you have fallen from grace. The other person I mentioned there in the trigger warning intro was somebody that I grew up listening to.
Me too.
yeah, obviously, I'm going to assume somewhat of an inspiration for you back then, um, in the music business anyway, is Eminem,
Hmm.
a complete leftist asshole douchebag now. Uh, Somebody that fought against the system and, you know, tried to um, be about freedom to express yourself and all this kind of stuff.
The same guy that
Is
said "fuck the FCC,"
Yeah,
yeah, now is
yeah,
sucking the FCC's dick.
yep, and said that Kamala is the only one that's going to protect your freedoms.
What freedoms? She's not protecting any of it. She can't even
No,
protect the border. She can't even protect women from being R-word and killed. So Eminem is delusional. That guy literally lives in his multi-million dollar estate, and he doesn't talk to anybody. I know this for a fact. He doesn't talk to anybody unless you have his bat phone, right? That guy's got like I bet you. I mean, he's even said it. I have like 10 people in my phone. That's it. 10 people in my phone. The guy doesn't talk to anybody. He doesn't go outside anymore. He's not in reality. It's not like this guy is going out and doing shows. If he does, it's like, once, maybe twice a year, and it's fucking in Japan. You know what I
it's like
mean?
an appearance.
Or it's an appearance. This guy, it's crazy to me. This is crazy to me. All these black Democrats hated Eminem. They
Hmm.
hated Eminem.
Want to
They
censor him.
culture vulture, you're this, you're that. And then yet now that he's wanting to do something, they're all sucking Eminem's dick. It's wild.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with Eminem, and it's always been the problem with Eminem. He's like he like dies for attention. He wants people around him. He wants people in the rap world to be like, yeah, man, like you're part of our culture. Where I get it, but me, as somebody of myself, I don't care. I'm a fucking rebel, dude. And my music states that. His music used to state that, but like his music doesn't state that anymore. The dude's making like, crazy like devil worshipping shit at this point. I don't listen to Eminem anymore. Eminem's the greatest rapper of all time. I'm not a fucking hater. I'll be the first to say it. The dude can fucking rap his ass off, but like as far as like politics or anything like that goes, like dude, this guy is a fucking loser. He is a straight up loser.
I'm
And
gonna
he
be I'm gonna be your new hype man when you go on stage.
I, I mean,
The rebel rapper from San Antonio, Texas.
bro, it to me, whatever. Eminem can do whatever the fuck Eminem wants, but like, dude, like, it's very clear, and it's been very clear for so long that he just wants acceptance so bad that he will literally do anything to get acceptance. I'm like, my guy, you are 50 fucking years old. Like, you already have acceptance. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to keep bending your fucking knee. You know what's crazy is his boy 50 Cent is a Republican fucking playing, mini man with Donald Trump in the background. And hey guys, guess what? 50 Cent's actually black. So, but nobody's going up to 50 Cent. No other black Democrat is going up there and being like, "Hey, motherfucker, like we're gonna fuck you up." And he's also not looking for any of your all's acceptance. And
No.
Eminem himself has always said, "All I want to do is be accepted into hip hop." 50 Cent's not. And that's the
No.
difference. And that's the difference between real artists that I have never cared once if you liked my music or not. I really don't give a fuck. I don't. Because there's 325 million fucking Americans, and there's billions of people on this earth. You don't need to like my music. I don't care if you do or if you don't. I really don't. Like, at the end of the day, I make music that I like, that I'm going to listen to, and people like me are going to like and listen to. And if you don't, fantastic. talk all the shit that you want. Maybe you like it. I mean, you don't even have to tell me you like it. I really don't care one way or the other because it's not going to stop me from producing and making shit that I care about and that is in my heart and in my soul that runs through my veins because I'm not trying to impress any of you all.
Well, and
I don't give a fuck.
I think sometimes for a lot of people it takes the awakening. You know, what you just said there kind of resonated with me with Hardy, with the country guy Hardy, is that, you know, he came out with a song called the Mockingbird and the Crow, and
Mhm.
you know, the beginning of the song, he's talking about like how he did all of this shit as a writer within the music industry to appeal to the labels and appeal to the masses and all this stuff that wasn't really him, but he had a talent for writing, so he did it all. You know, he listened to the record labels and did what they were told. And now that he actually has a microphone, he's like, you know what, fuck that and fuck you too. He actually says that in the song. But you know, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to produce the music I want to produce. And that's where, to tie that back in, that's where Eminem lost his way. You know, he, to your point, he decided that his value within the music industry was the most important thing in his life. And he thought that by doing things like releasing his Donald Trump diss rap, which was the most ridiculous fucking thing ever, that was going to gain him acceptance. But even that for Eminem failed, because look at all of these rappers that are actually Donald Trump supporters. Like
Yeah, of course.
there
The
are
vast
big,
majority,
yeah,
the vast majority of black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't make a difference what color you are because this is not about race thing, are conservatives. Most of them are. You know why they're conservatives for? A ding 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 ding. We don't want to pay your fucking taxes, you dick faces. Like any person, I don't care. You know why? You know why middle America is so conservative for? Do you know why the South is so conservative for? Dude, we don't want to get taxed. We don't want to have high inflation. We want to keep our fucking money that we earned. We don't want to give it to you so you can go fuck it off at foreign wars or go fuck it off on illegals or go fuck it off on whatever gay pride bullshit that you have. That's nothing against gay people. I don't really don't give a fuck. I don't want my money. Why am I going to work to pay for your shit? I don't want to do that. And guess what? Most rappers feel the exact same fucking way.
yep.
So,
Well, and you know what, I posted this because I went in on Bernie Sanders this week on Twitter. Um, And the only reason that the Democrats want a raise in wages is so that they can collect more tax dollars. If all of you out there think for 1 second that the Democrats want to raise wages to help you, you are severely mistaken. The only reason that they want to raise wages is because it generates more tax dollars.
no, but
Because if
here,
they really cared about your income level and your expenditures, they would reduce taxes so that the rest of you know, middle America wasn't spending 35% of their income on taxes.
yeah,
That's plain and simple.
but it's even bigger than that. Okay, for all you geniuses that's never taken a business class, okay, I'm not, patting myself on the shoulder. I have a business degree though. The first thing that you learn with a business degree is the more money you print, the more inflation. Point blank simple. So if you think that you're getting out of inflation because you're getting paid a little bit more, you are out of your fucking mind because that is a loan. It is a loan. You are printing more money. That money has to be paid back. Point blank, simple. Real simple. Okay? We used to pay things in government bonds back. Make $1, got to pay back $2 in government bonds. That's how it's always worked in America. Forever, forever, forever. That is why so many libertarians and conservative or libertarian leaning conservatives are so against the Federal Reserve, which also, by the way, guess what, Democrats? The Federal Reserve has nothing to do with the federal government. It just says Federal Reserve. Go check it out. It's not part of the government at
At
all.
all.
at all. And do you know where they get their money from? Do you know who's paying the Federal Reserve? Oh, I don't know. A shit ton of offshore bankers, which is highly unconstitutional, and that's why people like Ron Paul. It's the reason why I voted for Ron Paul with Obama when Obama was running, because he was so against the Federal Reserve, and I want to have a future for myself and my children and their children. That's what I want. So the more that you print money, the more that you get paid, the higher inflation goes, the more that our country goes into debt. Also, ding, 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 the more you pay in taxes, the more interest rates go up. It's real simple. Take a fucking business class, you morons.
Yeah, and the next time you hear a Democrat say, "I want to raise your wages," just in your mind, replace what they said with, "I want more tax dollars," because that's all it is. Because the more money you make means more money they take in, which means more money you spend, which means more money that they take in. It's all a revolving circle around the government feeding itself. That's all it is.
So here's the problem with Democrats. They think, okay, let's tax the highest. Let's tax this person that's making $1 billion, an astronomical amount, and then everybody else will get taxed less. That has never happened ever under one Democrat ever. They give you the same okey doke every single fucking time. Go look it up. Go look it up. You can go look at the Treasury, literally the government Treasury. You can go see it every single time. You can look at all the tax codes in America. It has never, ever, ever fucking happened. Why? Because guess what? Rich people know how to use tax codes to pay less in taxes. So what happens? The government says, oh, these people aren't paying so much. So what do we have to do? We have to tax Democrats. We have to tax the middle class more. That's what's happened every single time. My opinion, if you Democrats, if you want to make more money, this is what you do. You go to every single Democrat that's running for office in your area and you say, I don't want to get paid more. I want to be taxed less. I want to be taxed less. Look, if you're making $25 an hour, but they're saying, hey, we're going to give you $30 an hour, say, no, I want to be taxed $5 less every single hour. $5 less every single hour. Go see what they tell you. I guarantee you they will look at you like, we just can't do that.
Oh, that we can't do that.
We
But they
can't
think
do
that
that.
your company can pay you $5 more an hour. The government can't take $5 less, but your company can pay you $5 more.
I know. I work for a Fortune 500 company. I made over 6 figures a fucking year. Okay, and you know how much money I made an hour? $15 an hour. That's how much money I was getting paid on bonuses. I make triple that now an hour, and I don't even come close to $100,000 a year. Why? Because they cut back on every single bonus, every single metric that we possibly have. Our insurance is 10 times worse. Under Trump, my insurance, 100% coverage. Since Biden's been president, it went from 90% the first year to 80% to 70% to next year. Guess what? 60% fucking coverage. That's what my coverage is going to be. Why? Because you are taxing companies more. And yes, look, people say, oh, the income tax hasn't changed. Yeah, but you haven't looked at regulations. You haven't looked at the taxes through regulations on things because you're a simple minded dumbass and you don't understand how business works. Yeah, if you tax on regulations and you tax over here and you tax over here and you tax over there, that has nothing to do with income taxes. And guess who that goes to? That goes to you. And that goes into your bonuses, that goes into your hourly wages, that goes into your insurance, and so on and so forth. And that's why Republicans and conservatives and libertarians always say the trickle down effect. Because guess what, motherfucker? The trickle down effect does actually exist. There's no way. Look, inflation, at 2% over with Trump. Underneath Biden, since 2021 to 2024, if you add up all the inflation since then, it's 37% inflation. Now, they'll tell you, well, it's only 2% inflation. Yeah, this quarter it's 2% inflation. 2% this inflation on top of the 35% inflation that we've already fucking had for the past 3.5 years. So, like, you guys are idiots if you don't realize that. Nobody was paying fucking, what, I don't even know what eggs are. $7 for fucking 12 eggs back in the day. You would be able to pick up groceries. Your average grocery bill is up like 42% compared to what it is. The where you live right now, the cost of living for an apartment is up 42% right here in San Antonio. The average house cost is up like 36%. Interest rates are up astronomical, anywhere from 7 to 9%. It's because of the trickle down effect. You print more money, you tax, you regulate things, you have regulation taxes that has nothing to do with your income taxes. And guess what? Prices go up, you get paid less, your dollar is less worth, or your dollar is worth less, and your insurance has gone to absolute shit because of it.
In just income tax alone last year, I paid enough to buy myself a new Dodge Ram T-Rex. In just
Dude,
income tax alone, I could
la-
have bought an $80,000 truck.
last year I spent $18,000 in taxes. 18,000, and we're still under the Trump tax code.
Hmm.
Under the Trump tax code still. You, you know why it feels like you're getting paid so much less for? Because under Obama, when I worked for the same company, I made like $58,000. And I know you guys are gonna laugh at me. $58,000 is chump change. This is 10 years ago. $58,000. And I think it was like probably right around the same. And then Trump became president. I might have made like 62,000. And then the next year, 2017, 100 plus K every single fucking year, all the way until 2020. And then now I'm all the way back down to slightly above, but basically right where I was underneath fucking Obama, and inflation's super fucking high. It's in fucking sane.
Yeah, I mean, I paid just under $80,000 in taxes last year. And then when you add on all the extra stuff like you're talking about, the amount of money I had to spend in rent above what I used to, and all those other factors
It's the
in,
hidden taxes. That's what it
yeah,
is. It's hidden taxes.
is the value of my money was probably 1/4 of what it was just 5 years ago. And that is insane. And the reason that people like
It's
to
actually
bring,
37 cents less.
yeah. So to
37
bring
cents less on the dollar.
to bring this back to Eminem and other stars like this, they don't feel that hurt. So they can go and they can say all of this stuff because they don't feel the hurt like you do,
No,
like
but
I do.
Eminem's just hurting you. They're hurting you.
Yes.
And they don't realize that. And let me just state this real clear. Bro, black people don't give a flying fuck who you are anymore, Eminem. That's just point blank simple. White people, white Gen Z kids don't give a fuck who you are anymore. The only people that are going to cheer up and down and joy for you are, guess what? 35 to 45-year-old white women. So you're not even hitting your fucking demographic. Point
Yeah.
blank simple, bro. You're
Matt
not
Drudge.
you're not you were the goat. Nobody's I will be the first person to say it. You can out rap me for sure, 100%. You can put words together better than me, absolutely. But bro, like, your mental state, your mental acuity is fucking ridiculous. It is insanely low because you don't understand what type of hurt you're putting on other people. The only thing that you're looking out for is pride and acceptance. That's it, man. Fuck people's fuck the, I don't give a fuck about anybody's acceptance. And I really don't give a shit. Maybe you should try to do the same thing, Em.
Matt Drudge, you're an asshole, and Eminem, so are you.
I still fuck with you, Eminem, but I don't fuck with you politically. I've said this a million times. I've been saying this since 2016. I talked about. I mean, one of my friends, my producer, hates fucking Eminem. Absolutely hates you, by the way. Like absolutely fucking despises you. Um, and I always used to tell him, yeah, but he's the best. He's the best rapper of our lifetimes, hands down. There's nobody that can put multi syllables together better than you. I mean, point blank simple. But as far as everything else goes, and the older that I get, man, you talking about beating your wife, beating your mama, throwing her in a fucking, in a grave, all this shit. Like your conduct and your content does not fit with me, even though you can put it together crazy.
Yep. For sure, man. Well, it is time for Don Welch's favorite segment.
Is it time for my favorite segment? Because, I mean, I thought we were kind of crushing it with the whole Matt Grudges. Is it Matt Grudges? Is that who
Matt
it is?
Drudge.
Matt Drudge? See, that's how much this guy like means absolutely nothing to me because I don't even know the guy's name. Um, but yeah, I mean, look, whatever, guys. It is time for the watch
Watch
list.
list.
You know who I'm going to talk about today? The industrial military complex. Man, oh man, it is fucking out of this world.
We're gonna try to do this in not a very long time. We're gonna try. I
I didn't even
can't
realize we're
guarantee.
already like an hour plus in.
Yeah, we're an hour and 30 minutes in right now. Military industrial complex. You started touching on it a little bit with Liz Cheney.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look, the godfather is the Cheney family of the military industrial complex. If I don't care if it's a Democrat or if it's a Republican, I really don't. That shows you, hey, I'm unbiased. I don't give a fuck. And I mean that goes for people in there right now in Congress that are sucking on the industrial military complex's fucking dick, or military industrial complex's dick. I don't give a fuck who you are. You're a piece of shit. Look, these people in Congress, in the Senate, there's a small, we call them rhinos. We call them rhinos. And then we have the Liberal Party who all say, well, we don't want war. We don't want war. But as soon as something happens, guess what we're going to do? We're going to go donate and give all this money to all these countries, and we're gonna ship all of this military equipment over here, and or even on our own wars, we're gonna ramp up, ramp up, ramp up, ramp up, and we're gonna create all this stuff. And basically what they're trying to do is create wars, because wars make money, proxy wars make money. And dude, they're going to be the first people that will sign off on it with a smile and wear Ukraine flags and wave their banners and be like, we need to support Ukraine, one of the most corrupt countries on the fucking planet. And trust me, I don't like Russia. So before you all say that, fuck Russia too. I don't give a fuck about either one of these countries. When the Berlin Wall fell, we had an agreement with Russia. We would not march NATO one step further. We should have kept up with that agreement, and we kept moving and kept moving. If Mexico tomorrow started, well, I would say that, but they've already flooded in our country, and Democrats said
That one's done.
fuck it. But if any normal human being, any normal country, if you start stepping up and approaching with military arms onto a country that is that big, that has that many people in it, yeah, I'd probably be like, whoa, what the fuck's going on here? It's probably time to like saddle up and go to war. And that's exactly what they did. I'm not giving Russia, trust me, I'm not a Russia sympathizer. I don't give a fuck about Putin. Putin's a terrible fucking human being. The only thing that communism has ever given us good is fucking AKs and 7.62 by 39. That's it. Point blank, period. You know, I'm just being honest with you. Outside of that, I don't give a fuck about these countries. But people are profiting off of it. And we pay China. China then goes and pays Russia for gas, okay, and oil. And then we go and buy shit from China all over again, and it keeps funding the war machine. And then we dump money into Ukraine and then pay for, we're basically dumping all of our military supplies, keeping ourselves extremely fucking weak. And we've already talked about this. We don't make antimony in the United States anymore. We have to buy it from fucking China. So we can't even make half of our own military shit anymore. We have to buy it from China. Okay. So, or, you know, that goes for things like bullets, bombs, nuclear, whatever the case is. You can go watch what episode was that? I don't know, 21, 22, some shit like
Something
that.
like that.
You can go watch the episode where we talk about it. But all we're doing, it's a vicious fucking cycle of, hey, let's pay this communist, and then this communist is going to then fund this communist over here, and then we're going to pay for this fascist country of Ukraine, and then we're going to fund this fascist country of Ukraine money, who literally wears SS, by the way, still on their fucking shit. I don't give a fuck if you fought for Ukraine and you're an American citizen. I really don't. They're a corrupt fucking country. Their government's fucking corrupt. They gave, Biden all types of fucking money. There's all types of fuck shit that happened. I don't give a fuck. I feel bad for the people in Ukraine. I feel bad for the people in Russia, because these are wars against governments and not wars against people. And they are all put on by the United States. And the United States is the one funding the fucking proxy war, all through the military industrial complex, so they can all get funded in their back pockets for military or for election campaigns. I don't know if I summed that shit up for you, but this shit heats me up, bro. And I'm a gun guy, man. I'm a fucking gun guy. Like, I mean, clearly, but I don't fucking like spending money and giving, dirt bags fucking money, no matter what country they're from. I don't like the fact that we have fucking shit in China and we got to pay for it. I don't like the fact that half of our optics, half of our military shit comes from fucking China. I don't like the fact that China then pays money to get gasoline from fucking Russia. And I don't like the fact that we're giving money to Ukraine. I don't like the fact that we were trying to do a nuclear deal with fucking Biden with Iran. And then Iran goes and fucking bombs Israel. And then you got all these weird Democrat sympathizers that are all over fucking Hamas's dick, who's literally terrorist because that's what the Democrat media told you to do. Like, all of this shit is extremely fucking destructive. And it cost us a shit ton of fucking money. And your children's children a shit ton of fucking money. I digress. My bad. Go ahead. I know I took up a huge chunk of that.
Oh man. Getting back to the core of the military industrial complex, this started, I think we went down this road briefly at one point in time on the show, but this all started during World War I leading into World War II, where countries ended up having to pay these large corporations to produce the amount of weapons that were necessary, and it ended up being this like state sponsored manufacturer of tanks and weapons and all of this kind of stuff. And
Chrysler, Ford, you name it.
I'm talking about foreign countries.
Well, even here in America, they did the exact same.
I'm gonna transition it into America, but
my apologies. Go
this started in Europe, and then during these wars, we saw here in the United States, and our corporations in the United States saw how successful some of these European countries were with raising money by funding wars and by funding supplies for wars. that we then turned our manufacturing facilities into this huge war machine because we had to, because we decided to continue on in these conflicts. These conflicts were then sponsored basically by these companies because they knew they could make a dime. Now, one good thing did come from it. The rise of the American superiority happened during this time
I agree.
because the entire country came together around these corporations to create this might. But what should have happened is, as soon as these wars were over, things should have stepped back and gone back to normal. Instead, people saw a chance to make the almighty dollar.
Lockheed
And
Martin, Boeing.
every single war since World War II has been mostly initiated by the need to feed the machine that is the military industrial complex.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this, Don, with John Manelli from Stiff Lip Subs. He worked for one of these government contractors. This type of system is not sustainable because you have to have wars to sustain it. That's the only way that these companies survive. I mean, look, Boeing ain't surviving because they make good airplanes. We fucking know that.
We see that.
Raytheon would not exist if it wasn't for the fact that they made good missiles and good guided bomb units, GBUs. If they didn't make the JDAM and the Sidewinder missile, these companies would not exist at all.
Bro, the TX calculator was, I think, made the Abrams tank. Like the calculator.
Texas Instruments calculator made the Abrams tank?
I think so. I think that's who made it.
Do I have to Jamie you here?
You should Jamie me, because okay, I might be wrong about this, but they made some type of fucking tank for the military industrial complex.
I'm looking this up here. Texas Instruments.
Please look it up, because I'm pretty sure that's what they did.
I don't see anything that links Texas Instruments to the Abrams tank here.
Okay, look up tanks. They made something.
Texas Instruments. Interesting. Are they from Texas?
Oh, well, I would say so.
I'm not finding anything here, man.
Hold
Leave
on.
it down in the comments. Oh, they made the Javelin. That's what they made. They made the Javelin.
They made missiles, bombs, anti-tank guided missiles.
Yeah, the Javelin.
And yeah, so the calculator that you guys grew up with,
the company that made the calculator itself did not make the Javelin.
The company, I'm saying the calculator that you grew up with at school, that company is the one who made missiles, bombs, anti-tank guided missiles, the Javelin, all that shit out of fucking control.
Well, I mean, you can't make that much money on a calculator, bro. You got to make missiles, right?
But bro, but isn't that crazy? Because I remember, okay, the reason why I brought this up because I just think that it's funny. Somebody told me that, and I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. There's no way. And then I looked it up. This has probably been, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. But I thought they made tanks, but I guess they made anti-tank guided missiles. But isn't that wild, though? The calculator that you grew up with is the same company that made that calculator that made all this shit.
But knowing that what we know now, it's not surprising, right? Because it's
not surprising at all.
Why wouldn't you do that? Here's one of the major problems with the military industrial complex is that they tend to they tend to undermine national security, right? Because they sell to anybody. Even though they're not supposed to.
That's the problem.
And they waste tax dollars. Yep. They absolutely waste tax dollars because you can't tell me that I think an F-35 costs something like $35 billion to build. There's no way, right?
Bro,
There's no way.
It's even crazier than that because I think we actually talked about this when we had Stiff Lips John
Manelli.
John Manelli on. Sorry, John. But when we had John on, I'm pretty sure we talked about this. It was something like $75 for a fucking banana. Like
Yeah.
that is literally what the military industrial complex was charging the United States government to bring a banana in to Afghanistan, was 75 fucking dollars.
Who we didn't talk about it, but I watched it on something recently that it cost in Iraq $100 just to bring in the plate that food was served on. Not the
Insane.
food, just the plate. And
Insane.
companies like Dick Cheney's company, Halliburton, and all these companies, they're extremely wasteful. Like if you think about $35 billion, what did AT&T stadium cost to build? The Cowboys stadium. It was like $1 billion, right? It was something like that.
Yeah, it was. I might have been
Somewhere in and around there.
might have been a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't no $35 billion.
So you could build 35 Cowboys stadiums for the price that it costs to build one F-35.
That's crazy. I'm actually gonna look this up because I want to know now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Jamie you real quick. Let's see here.
The total cost, the total cost of the F-35 program is to exceed $2 trillion.
Okay, so if you guys can see that, hopefully, I don't know if it will zoom in, but I'm gonna try to get it close to the camera.
Yeah, it's not clear there.
It's not close. Okay. Anyways, it's $1.2 billion. That's how much it costs for the construction on the AT&T Stadium, was $1.2 billion.
So the total life cycle cost of the F-35, including operation and maintenance, is estimated to be $1.3 trillion for one airplane. That means that you could have built 1,000 Texas stadiums.
And every illegal gets $9,000 of your tax money every single time they come into the country on top of that. So
that's what we're talking about here. Like, if you even look at, so this is a common misconception. So when this is something that Don and I actually know pretty well, the term mil spec gets thrown around a lot as a positive thing when you're not in the know, right? But
I got caught up in it when I first got into weapons, you know, protecting myself. Yeah,
you're like, oh, mil spec. If it's military spec, like it must be good, right?
Got to be great.
No. So mil spec, a lot of people know it from AR terminology in 1911s and things like that. But mil spec could mean anything from toilet paper to plate carriers and all kinds of stuff, right? I mean, mil spec is it's what the military specifications are. So for a long time, the military had a contract with Black Hawk. That was their supplier of, pouches and gear and stuff like that.
Holsters, all that bullshit.
Yeah. So yeah, take a holster, for example. You or I can walk down to the nearest Army Navy store and buy a Black Hawk holster for $29.99, right? Maybe even less.
Yeah, probably less.
Probably less. The military is paying like $135 for that same holster.
It's fucking insane.
Like it's
insane.
It's out of control. And the reason that, tying this all in, the reason that the military industrial complex sets this bar is because they are the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Like in order to fight our wars, we have to buy from these people.
Yep.
There is no competition, guys. For you to think for 1 second that there is actual competition inside of the military industrial complex, you're fucking wrong. What the craziest thing that most people don't know is that a lot of these contracts, like take, I don't think, probably a bad example. I was going to say the F-35, but like just take a random new tank. All four of the major players, Lockheed, Raytheon, on and on, you know what I mean? All four of them will get a piece of that tank. There's no
Oh,
competition. They all decide between each other which pieces and parts they're going to take.
facts.
And then what the government does is they have this rule that like 10% has to be made by small businesses or whatever, right? So they'll buy their fucking screws and some rubber fucking gaskets from a small business, spend $100 a piece on them, and say, oh, well, that was 10%. So not only does the military industrial complex control the start of wars, how? Just like you said, Don, because their money is in the pockets of the politicians that push the wars. They
And,
then
and
the
if you
money
think that's,
goes.
I was gonna say, if you think that this is Republicans getting that money, brother, you have been asleep the past 10 years, like
Well,
literally.
there are still Republicans
No, no,
that are
no.
involved in this.
Oh, no, 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 no. There's Republicans that are involved in this, but I'm trying to tell you, the people watching, it is every single person that is in politics that we despise. Me and John hate rhinos. We cannot stand them. We cannot stand them. I'll be the first to tell you. I've said this a million times on this podcast. I try to get fucking Tony Gonzalez out. Now, am I going to vote for Tony Gonzalez? Yes, because I believe that the other constitutional conservatives will keep him in line, and I sure as fuck don't want a Democrat in there. However, I try to vote his fucking ass out. This is why midterms are so fucking important, right? So, uh, there's all types of dick faces, and it doesn't matter what party it is. And the vast majority of Democrats are in bed with big pharma, the military industrial complex, and well, media companies. I'm trying to think of what else. I had something else on my mind, but I
Well,
can't remember.
so all you have to do is go through the corporate donations of
True,
your favorite politician or unfavorite politician,
very
and
true.
look for the names Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, General Dynamics, and I'm gonna throw some shit out in your face here. Look for companies like IBM, Dynacorp, Microsoft, Amazon, Dell,
Hmm.
Hewlett Packard. Look for those companies too, because if you think for one second that those technology companies are not a part of the military industrial complex,
You're out of your fucking mind.
you're fucking kidding yourself. Who do you think puts microprocessors in all of this equipment?
Hmm.
Who do you think supplies all of the routers and network switches and all this stuff that gets put into forward deployed bases? That's what John Manelli did.
Comps.
Radios, Motorola. What does
Mhm.
Motorola do today? They don't even make cell phones anymore.
Nope.
Barely. I think they came out with a new Razor or whatever. But like that's a military company now. Oracle controls like half of the government's networking systems.
Yep.
Uh, this stuff is at a high level. Like most of the contracts that these people have and these big companies are military contracts.
Facts.
They're military contracts. DynCorp. I almost
Mhm.
went to work for DynCorp. They provide. So I'll just give you an example here, people, of how.
We just ruined all of our chances at ever getting any of these jobs.
Right. I don't care. I'm in the restaurant business now. So DynCorp provides civilian. That one of the things they do a lot of stuff, but one of the things they do is like John Manelli was talking about how he did. Basically, he did the same work as a civilian as he did when he was in.
Yep.
So when I was in, I was an explosives guy. So, and I got paid obviously crap when I was in the military. This is the early 2000s. We didn't get paid shit. As soon as I got out, I got an offer from Dynacorp that was about 10 times what I made when I was in the military. And guess who gets to go do the same job that I already did in an austere environment? And guess who pays for that? You do. You pay for that. I literally one day could have been making, I don't know what I made back then, 35,000 a year. I don't even know. Some chump change as a military member. And the next day I would have made $120,000.
And back then, 120K was big money.
And it would have been tax free because it was in a war zone.
Yep.
So that's your tax dollars at work there. So instead of keeping me in and say giving me like a bigger reenlistment bonus, they could have given me $40,000, let's say, and I would have stayed in.
Mm-hmm.
They would rather the next day pay a government contractor. And guess what? They're not paying that government contractor $120,000 a year for me. They're paying that government contractor $240,000.
Well, you know why that is? Because, okay, in case you guys don't understand this, they want regulations for you. For you. They want regulations for companies in America. What they don't want regulations for are anything that's going to go to war. Point blank, period. Now,
unless your name is BlackRock. Or not BlackRock.
Blackwater.
Blackwater.
Yeah, because Blackwater technically wasn't part of the military industrial complex, and Blackwater, well,
was extremely efficient.
Extremely efficient.
They made the military look like a bunch of fucking assholes.
And really, the military industrial complex is kind of who went after Blackwater, if you ask me. But what?
100% they did. Who gained off of Blackwater falling? Companies like DynCorp.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, we could get into this. That's probably for another time. Maybe we can get lucky and we can have
Erik Prince.
Erik Prince on.
I mean, that'd be badass.
I would love to have Erik Prince on because I have so many questions for him. Erik Prince is a straight up G, and battled against the government. And we'll just get into it at another point. Anyways, I kind of lost where I was going with all of this now because we started getting onto that. But yeah, I mean, 100%. Like, you have all these companies that are out here making billions of dollars, and there's no regulations on them because it's feeding the war machines, and then in return, it's feeding politicians' pockets. The only time that you will ever see any type of negativity is when the media decides to pick up and turn, or the Democrats decide, hey, we don't want this. Prime example of this is when Israel got bombed, everybody said, go, 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 fight Hamas, fight Hamas, fight Hamas. And then you had the extreme far left wing of the party say, we don't like this, we don't like this. And then ever since then, the Israelis have had handcuffs on them. Now, do I think we should be paying for the Israelis? No. But Israel is its own country. They should be able to protect themselves any way that they want. Ukraine should be able to protect themselves any ways that they want. We shouldn't be funding it, period.
Do you know how much money that the United States government paid Lockheed Martin in 2023?
How much?
$49.2 billion. Now, that's not really the stat I want to get into here. It's a big one, obviously. $49.2 billion of your tax money went to just Lockheed Martin. Guess what their annual revenues were in 2023?
How much is that?
$67.57 billion. So 49 out of their $67 billion in revenue came from the United States of American government. That, just like I was saying 15 minutes ago, these companies would not exist if it wasn't for the U.S. government's wars.
All right. I'm trying to think something here. Dude, I lose. You can tell I've never made $1 billion. How many zeros? What is it? 900,000. 1, 2, 3, 4,
9
5,
zeros.
6, 7, 8.
9 zeros.
My calculator doesn't even go up to fucking 9 zeros, bro. That's how crazy that is. All right. I don't know. I was trying to say there's 320 million people. If you got a calculator, my fucking phone doesn't have one that has enough fucking zeros on it. Do the math on it. and then divide that by 320 million. Can you do that on yours?
I'm gonna do it on mine.
Yeah, because let me tell you this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It stops at 7 zeros on an iPhone. If you don't believe me, there it is, 7 zeros. It stops. You can't go any further.
Every single American paid Lockheed Martin $1,397.
That is insane. Imagine that getting put on your tax returns just from Lockheed Martin alone.
I'm sorry. $139. I had one too many zeros.
Okay, no matter what,
Still, just one company.
one company. Now, let's do that times the 50, 60, 70 companies that are a part of it.
Well, the U.S.'s military budget every year is $900 billion plus you.
Thank you. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, you do the math. By the time you get done with all these companies, you're easily putting $5,000-6,000 back in your pockets.
So the entire military budget is $900 billion divided by 352 million Americans, even though not all of them are taxpayers, but whatever. $2,556 per person per year to fund the military industrial complex.
There you go.
Now, I want to be very clear with what I'm saying here. I am not saying that we should not spend $900 billion a year on military defense. I am not saying that.
But we're overspending, and we're overspending for things that are worth way less.
Yes.
Way less.
We could do it. If it actually cost $900 billion to do it, I'd have no problem with it. I am a supporter of our national defense. But unfortunately, it doesn't cost $900 billion for our personal defense here in the United States because we're using all that money to fight wars. Like you said, we've given $200 billion in cash and aid to Ukraine. Over $200 billion now.
Think about this. We just talked about this with the holsters, right? You pay $29 as a civilian for a holster. That means that company, in order to make that holster and pay people, whatever the case is, they're probably got
$4 to $5 into it.
Yeah, maybe $4 to $5 in it. Maybe. I was going to say 6.
Yeah, maybe 6.
So
depending if they made it in the US or if it was made overseas.
Yeah, okay. Let's just say high end $6. Okay, you're paying $29 for that. The government is paying $130 fucking dollars for something that is worth $6 to make and actually, I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy the amount of just like ridiculous spending that we do. Be like, no, look, hey, if the civilians pay $29, that's what the American government's going to pay for it too.
Yep. And until
if you don't think that these companies aren't going to do that, you're out of your fucking mind. Do you know how many holsters that these people could make? Do you know how many bombs that could be made? Do you know how many Abrams tanks that could be made? They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop making fucking tanks. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
The only way that it stops is when you start holding politicians accountable for their ridiculous foreign wars and their acceptance of military-industrial complex donations. That's the only way that this stops.
And my biggest problem isn't even the money that it's not even just the fact that we're spending money on the military-industrial complex. It is what it is. The fact is the military-industrial complex is then outsourcing to other countries in order to get supplies to be able to make those fucking things.
Well, and they're pushing for the wars. That's what I have the biggest problem with.
That too.
They're pushing. Like, look, Dick Cheney caused Iraq. Plain and simple. Dick Cheney was the reason the Iraq War happened.
Yeah, I have never been a fan of Bush ever. Literally ever. By the time, I was young. 2001, I was a freshman in high school. I was 12, 13 years old at that point in time. I graduated high school when I was like 16, 17 years old. I graduated super early, but that's besides the point. Or 16, yeah, 16. Besides the point. The crazy thing about it is like I didn't give a flying fuck about Bush, nor did I like Clinton, nor did I care about any of this stuff really whenever I was in high school. My mind was already set because I grew up with a very libertarian conservative mother, and my dad was a fucking war machine. That's all he cared about. That's all he talked about was war, 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 war. And he never wanted America to go to war. Not with fucking Afghanistan. Look, every country that's ever went to war has never walked out and been a winner. And guess what America's really bad at doing? Winning fucking wars. Do you know why? Because as soon as shit gets hot and it becomes election season, things die down. We can't do this. We can't do that. We'd rather American fucking soldiers die. We back up on things. We say, hey, look, you have to follow these engagements of, war that we're creating for you out of fucking thin air. And that's it. And you're told what to do. And they purposely go in to lose shit. To lose shit. We have not entered a war since the fucking Korean War to go in and actually fucking win.
It's true.
And the reason why is because of the big money machine that's behind it.
And that's why the military industrial complex, you have been added to
the watch list.
Man, that we could have gone for freaking 2 hours on the military industrial complex alone.
I know. I feel like I just started getting warmed up.
I think you've been a little warm over there the whole time. Thank you all for listening tonight. Huge shout out to a watch company. Go get yourself a fancy one of these things over at 28watchcompany.com. Stay tuned. We will probably put out two more episodes before our election night coverage. We appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and as Don said, ring that notification bell so you get notified every single time we post cool shit just like this. Until next time, I'm John. That's Don. We're the Liberty Goons, and we are
out.